let's go. Join, let's go. Yeah. We built it. We grind it. That's right, man. We ride it. We cruising. We built it. We grind it. That's right. Let's go. We cruising. We built it. We grind it.
I am Aaron. I am from Springfield, Missouri. I was actually born in Jefferson City, Missouri. Lived in Monette for most of my life. Came to Springfield.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Came to Springfield when I was about 15 and been here ever since.
And who is that beside you?
This is my friend Jason.
I'm Jason.
And tell us about yourself.
I've lived here in Springfield for awfully too long. Born and raised in California, LA. Been out here, I can't remember how long. Too long almost. But you know how it is.
Okay, before we get into, there's a story with both of you guys, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
And before we get there, let's go back with Aaron for a little bit and tell us, was there anything as a child when you were growing up that led you into the automotive world, or maybe motorcycles or something like that? I mean, what got you to the point where we're at today?
I mean, typical boy loves his cars kind of deal growing up. I pretty much always had the Hot Wheels growing up. I had the typical Lamborghini poster on the wall, wanting that one day when I get older. RC cars. I always loved going to car shows. It was just something about the automotive industry just drove me to it. Just enjoy the looks, the sounds, smells, all of it.
Did you have a favorite vehicle that you liked as a kid?
Still to this day, 1999 Dodge Viper GTS.
Tell me what you liked about it.
It's a brick shithouse, powerhouse. I just speed and the looks of it. One of the first considered exotic cars from a company who did not build exotic cars.
So if you could have one today, you'd take it, huh?
100%. 100%.
All right, so let's go to your very first car. What was your very first car?
My very first car was a 1996 Ford Ranger. 5-speed.
How'd you feel about that?
I liked it, actually. At first, I didn't, because it was
Ford Ranger.
Ford Ranger. Dad bought it for me when I was 16. I was not really a truck guy, and he just kept beating it. Well, you're going to have friends one day that's going to need a truck, and you're going to have one. So that day did come a couple of times. It just wasn't something that I was interested in, but I tried to make it my own, customized it up a little bit. Found some friends who had like the little toy trucks, everything. They lowered their trucks. Tried to make it look like that. Still didn't really interest me until I got ended up moving up and got an Eclipse, and that was a little bit more my area of expertise.
More sports.
Yes.
So go ahead and tell us about that.
Oh,
about the Eclipse.
The Eclipse I got, bought it out in Marshfield. It was a 94. That was around when Fast and Furious was real big and iconic, so I really wanted an Eclipse. Wasn't the one from the movies. It was the little rally car body style. And tried to do anything and everything I could to that. Took it to all these little street races around here. Tried to make something of it, and then one day it just decided, I'm done.
You've given her all she's got. Something.
Yep.
Can't give us that motor.
So it just basically kind of engine blew up and it was done.
Yeah. Threw it up on Craigslist. Guy came by and picked it up. Said him and his grandpa, I believe, either grandpa or dad, rebuilt them for off-road races. So he bought it for next to nothing from me and was like, I bet I can get it running, and then drove it away from my house.
So he got it up and running.
Yep. Right in my driveway.
Have you had any contact with them? Like, see where it's at?
No, that was pretty much
it?
Waving it goodbye at that point in time.
So what did you have after that?
I had always really been drawn towards BMW. Always really wanted one. Finally come across one that I wanted. I got it. Didn't really even need to do a whole lot to it. There was a couple little minor mechanic issues with it that I was trying to get fixed for it. But that was a fun car. Absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, do not have it due to a past job situation. Yeah, that's my story for my BMW. We'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of been my thing, just making cars where they're sporty, fun to look at, Hot Wheels kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like we were saying a little bit earlier, like every time you get it, I mean, anybody that has a truck, you get that bumper sticker that says, yes, I have a truck. No, you can't borrow it. And making them sporty, lowered or anything like that. Everybody always says with like a mini truck or full-size truck, oh, you can't do anything with that. You can't haul anything. Yeah, you can. It's all a matter of how you build it and how you drive it. Because if you know how to drive, you can haul anything and drive anywhere, no matter what.
And especially if you know it, you can fix it up too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and fix it up and you make it yours.
Yeah.
To where you're not driving the same little square box that everybody else is. You got to put your own little niche and twist on it.
Well, I mean, like if it broke down, you know how to fix it.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So that way you can carry whatever you want because you can fix it too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're Jason, correct?
Yep.
Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself back as you were growing up. As a kid, what did you like to do? What led you into the car world or vehicle world or bike world, whatever you want to call it? Whatever you started with first.
God, it probably goes back to probably when I was like 5 years old. Growing up in LA, big car scene.
Say epicenter.
Yeah. Oh, epicenter of lowriders, hydraulics, mini trucks, just compact cars, lowered, hammered, big trucks, dualies, everything. Just growing up and going to a car show and just loving all of it. And just out there looking at everybody's different perspective on what they want for a car. That's like the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what was like one of your first rides that you acquired when you turned 16 or
my first
time you got one?
Yeah, my first car was a 73 Delta 88 two-door coupe, which is two-door coupe. It was 24 and a half feet long. The front fenders were 6 foot. Then you had 4 foot for the doors and then another 6.5 foot to 7 foot for the trunk. Had a half white vinyl top, metallic green, custom pinstripe, wide whites, 55 hubcaps, kind of lowered, blacked out windows, all vinyl interior. Perfect car. Drank more gas than anything you could ever think of. until you buy it. Actually had it for a while. Kept it. Bought another car. Started working on it, fixing it up, making it mine. And then that's when my parents are like, well, you have too many cars. I only have 2. Granted, our whole family, we had between mom, dad, my other brother that was still there, and me, we had 6 cars. He had 2 cars, I had 2, my parents had 2. So 2-car garage full and a front driveway full. So yeah.
So what was your favorite car that you acquired through the years? Up to this point, let's say up to this point, what was your favorite car or truck?
Up to this point, I've had many cars, many trucks. That's a hard one. Because right now, I love the 2 that I have sitting in my driveway, as picky as they are. But one that comes second is I had a 1990 Ford Festiva. Surf blue, lowered. Back in the day, it had TSW alloy wheels on it. It was actually in TSW's brochure for that year of the new wheels, because I bought a set. And they actually had it in there because it had a set of 14s on it, hammered, with blacked out windows and everything else. And then went down to a smaller size because it was easier to drive. And then all my friends, when I moved out here, we all called it the Baja Festiva because no matter what, we took it everywhere. That was
And so that was your second one. What was your first one?
First one was that 73 Oldsmobile.
73.
Yeah.
Now,
where you could actually almost put the Festiva in the trunk because it was so small.
So I heard that you might have a hearse too.
I have two of them actually.
It's an addiction.
And the other thing
They
I
are.
heard too was the one that you're sitting on, you possibly owned before too.
Yeah. This was this 83 was the second one I bought. First one I bought was a 66 Cadillac hearse Superior Crown.
And you still have that one.
Still have that one. That is in the works of getting a whole new bunch of goodies.
A whole bunch.
Yeah. I'm actually the third owner of it. Bought it from the second owner who bought it from the original.
Pretty good.
Car has 49,000 original miles on it.
That's really good. That's a pretty low mileage right there.
Yeah.
And then you have another one you said.
I have another we bought 3 years now.
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly 3 years.
Right after the
It's another 66, but it's a Miller Meteor Cadillac hearse.
And what do you plan on doing with those? Just collecting them, hanging on to them, love them?
Actually redoing them, cleaning them up, because over the years they're not driven much. Select people like them. Very select.
So you might fix them up to sell them?
No.
Or are you just going to fix them up to keep them, hang on to
Fix them up to keep them, unless
take them to shows and stuff.
yeah, unless somebody offers a ridiculous price, then
Gotcha.
go for it. But
right person comes along.
right person comes along, but it's once you get bit, it's hard to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's all good. So after the BMW story, you came across the hearse, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the hearse came from him.
Yes.
So let's go to, real quick before we get to that point, we'll go back to the BMW now story.
The thing with the BMW was I had a 2006 Malibu. Nothing special about it. It was just a point A to point B car. Had it for a while, ran like a tank. I will give it that. That thing was awesome. I got rear-ended at 30 miles an hour, me sitting still. The thing still ran. Couldn't open the trunk or like use the trunk anymore, but it still ran. So eventually I got to the point of the thing had so many problems. I was like, I need to get a new car. I have to get a new car. I have the ability to get one. I'm just going to go get one. Scoured the marketplace forever. Came across a couple of things. Tried to get a Chrysler 300C SRT8. Would have been awesome.
Oh yeah.
Bank wouldn't budge on the loan on that one though. So
No.
found a BMW 335i. Then said twin turbo. It had some work done to it by a previous owner. It was one big single turbo.
Mhm.
Found that out after a couple of mechanic issues. But I'd gotten that. Was working for another company. Ended up having to leave that company because it was landscape company. It was weather issues, cold weather time, all that stuff. But ended up getting back in contact with a former friend of mine from school that said he was starting a body shop. And I was like, all right, cool. I mean, you need some help. I've done it before, could learn some more things, but I kind of know my way around it. So we go there, start working on some cars, everything like that. Everything seems to be fine in the beginning. And then he like tried to bite off more than he can chew, I would say. And then everything just kind of snowballed from there. He got real deep into money, really big issues with people. Like
Robbing
Ricky's-
Peter to pay Paul.
yeah, exactly. Like Ricky said, this is where I met him. We had his Fox body there. I had the honestly the great opportunity to work on it, because the experience alone was fun, but the experience given was not fun. Long story short on that, basically this dude wouldn't pay us for any of the work that we were doing, so therefore the BMW ended up going up for repossession, was taken by the bank, lost that car, whole big problem there. Obviously really down on my feelings, got a car that I always wanted, it's been taken from me. Well, another friend of mine, Tony, who I'm sure Ricky knows as well, he messaged me and he said, well, I know you've always wanted a hearse. What if I knew somebody that had a hearse? And I was like, you're full of shit. I don't believe you. I'm in this big funk of not having a car that I've always wanted, and now all of a sudden you're presenting me my literal second dream car to a T. Send me pictures. I don't believe you. So Tony gets me in touch with Jason. He sends me pictures. Tony sends me pictures. I'm just in awe. I messaged Jason and I was like, listen, man, I want this car. So much so, I will let you know I will have the money for it in it was like 2 weeks, I think, something like that. Like, I need you to hold on to it for me. I want this car so bad, you don't understand. The only other car I want beyond this is a Lamborghini Huracan.
Yeah.
So he basically immediately knew it was going to go to a good home, so he held on to it for me.
Yeah, I didn't even post it on Marketplace or anything anywhere for sale. Because Tony messaged me. He's like, hey, I heard you got another car. I'm like, yeah. He goes, and then we're going to be getting rid of the 83 because the wife says there's only 2 of us. Can't drive 3 hearses at the same time. I was like, all right, I get that. So we put it up, or I was getting ready to put it up for sale, and I told our friend Tony, which I've met from a previous other car club that we were in, and he was like, I told him, I was like, well, I'll send you pictures. He's like, I got a friend. He goes, I got a friend. He goes, that's his second favorite car is a hearse. Okay. I was like, we'll talk. And I was like, and I won't post it. I was like, I'll hold on to it. As soon as you get some money, we're good. And that's how it came to be.
We've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
So you've had some issues with the hearse, and when you do, you come back to this guy, right?
Yeah, anytime I've had any issues with it, I immediately call him, text him, hey, this is doing this weird thing. Is this normal? What do I do to fix it?
And the one thing with, you got to remember, these cars in their lifespan at any funeral home or anything like that, they idle more than they drive. They only drive to and from the funeral home to the cemetery and back, and then they get parked. Yeah, they have low mileage, but some places don't keep up maintenance. And so when you get them, it's a labor of love to keep the cars going. And yeah, they're finicky, they're picky. They have their own way of thinking. They have their own feelings, and everybody's like, oh, they're haunted. No, they're not haunted. They're the most finicky car you could ever find.
Yep.
But they're the most enjoyable. And that's like the truth of it.
I called you one time panicking because it vapor locked on me for the first time. I was like, it just died. What happened? Well, it just stopped. It won't turn. It won't do anything.
The funny thing is everybody knew I had this car, and a lot of people didn't know I sold it. To where a friend of mine, he messaged me. He's like, hey, you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? He goes, well, I saw you. He goes, I saw your hearse on Grand with the hood up. And I'm like, oh, I don't have that anymore. What? I was like, I got rid of that like a year and a half ago. And I was like, hold on. Thank you. And I called him and I'm like, you all right? He goes, wait. Yeah. He's like, well, I think it vapor locked. I'm like, yeah, it did. He's like, wait, how did you know this?
Yep.
I'm like,
yep, that's right.
I was like, people know the car. And I was like, and I know a lot of people in town. So yeah, that's going to happen. He's like, was like, so you all right? He's like, yeah, get cooled down. We're good. I'm like, good. I was like, yeah, I know she's finicky, especially in the summertime. It's just one of the perks of owning a hearse.
So it's kind of cool to have a friend now that was a previous owner as well as knowledgeable in the hearse.
Yep.
So whenever you need something or something happens, don't hesitate to call and check in and get help from them.
No.
That's pretty rare these days.
And even to expand onto that too, if I couldn't get a hold of him, we both know the owner of this hearse before him. So,
which when I got to know, his name's Chris, I actually got to meet him when I bought my first hearse, because I found it on Craigslist. It was down in Oklahoma, past Oklahoma City. Went down, took my truck and trailer, went and picked it up, brought it back, had it sitting in front of my house, and I was going to go take it over to a buddy of mine's mechanic shop, have him look it over, double check, change fluids, make sure everything was good, and do an inspection on it, and come out to the car, and there's a business card on the windshield of my truck, and I'm like, huh. Okay. And it just had, call me, I want to talk about your car or your hearse on the back with his number. I was like, all right, whatever. And then a couple days later, on one of the hearse groups, they do, sometimes they do backdoor Fridays, to where take a picture of the back of the hearse. Well, I see the picture of my hearse on the trailer, and he posted it. And he's like, really like to know more about this car. I'm like, the only thing I wrote on it was, she's a beaut, Clark. And he's like, she is. I private messaged him. I was like, if you want to know more, just let me know. I was like, I should have it back later on this week. If you want to come by and look at it, I'll give you a holler. And it was like a couple days later, back in the driveway, I'm like, hey, you want to come over? And that's how it came. And that was 2016.
Yeah. So, Aaron, why a hearse?
well,
Why not?
I mean, it's going to sound weird, but I've always wanted one since I was about 9 years old. And that's when I got to ride in one for the first time for a funeral for a grandmother of mine. And just something about it, it's the luxury behind it, yet I've always been into Halloween. Like, I work for a haunted attraction. It goes out there with me for that. I've always said, Halloween's more of a lifestyle than a holiday to me.
Exactly.
So, being the fact that there is a car that's associated with Halloween, it just seemed to fit for me.
So, do you take this thing to a lot of Halloween events with you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or, to help give out candy, possibly for the kids?
I've taken it to a few trunk or treats. We hosted a trunk or treat at my at the haunt that I work at before. I've taken it to car shows. I'll try to go to any Halloween themed car shows and hand out candy, anything like that, because I have experienced, both sides. There are people that are absolutely terrified of this car, and then there are people that are absolutely seriously interested in this car. And one of my favorite things to tell people is, it's not what you would think. You'll see guys in their 30s or 40s cold shoulder you because of this car. You will see a 96-year-old woman clap her hands and give you a thumbs up in the middle of traffic. It's interesting.
People are strange around these cars. Kids love them.
Yeah.
Because they think it's an awesome big car.
Mm-hmm.
One time we had our 66 Superior Crown. We took it out for a cruise, had it parked down off of Glenstone, and had the the mortician for the coroner's office for City of Springfield pulls up and he goes, "Is that a 65? Nope, 66. And his wife smacks him and she's like, "Told you." He goes, "Man, I love these cars." He goes, we don't get the nice cars anymore. He goes, "We get the vans," as they're sitting in a Dodge Caravan with the little light on top and everything else. And we had the side door open, the back door open, and he had his grandson with him, and he was like, "Can I hop in it?" I'm like, "Go for it." He goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I don't care." I was like, "You know how they are." And he goes, "Oh, I know." And he was just making laps, just having fun, sitting in the back, rolling around, running through it and everything else. And he was just like, "Well," he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "You know how sturdy these cars are." I was like, "They can take it." He's not that big. I've had people, when you're driving, I've had people come up, but they won't pass it, and then they'll back off and will never come next to the car.
Cops do it too. It's hilarious.
Speaking of cops, there was one night I was driving this, and I was on the south side heading up Jefferson from Sunshine. And no, it wasn't Sunshine, or it wasn't Jefferson. It was over on National. I'm sitting at the light, and it's probably 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Springfield PD in his car. I pull up next to him in this, which the windows are blacked out, triple tinted on the sides. Front windshield was tinted at the time. And I pull up and I'm just looking over. I'm like, he could probably give me a ticket for these windows. And I kept looking over at him, and he's just doing this, both hands on the wheel, 10 and 2. And I could just see his eyes just like dart over to the car, dart straight back, dart over to the car, dart straight back. And I'm like, he's afraid of this thing. The dash lights are all green. So it makes the whole car, inside the car, glow green. And I turned the back green lights on. And I just sat there, I just looked over, cracked the window down. It came down, passenger side window came down just enough to where there's a green glow, and I could see it off the side window of his car. He just looks over, flips the lights on at the red light, siren, and just nails it. As soon as he got about 30 feet, 40 feet past, turned the lights off and just kept going. I'm like, that's awesome.
Pretty good.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun.
What is, or can you answer some of the questions people come by and ask you about on here for the people who watch this and always ask questions about a hearse? Aaron, you go ahead first and just tell me, like, when you're at a car show, what are some of the questions they ask about, especially people who are frightened about it or the people who love it?
The one question I get asked the most is, do you actually drive that? And I always answer with, how do you think I got it here? It's quite obvious.
And usually the second question is why.
Yeah, it's fun. And honestly, too, I've told people, like, they ask me, "Oh, is it really that comfortable to drive in?" This thing is a freaking land yacht. It just coasts. It's smooth, even for being an 83 years old as it is. It rides so
like,
smooth.
It rides like a Cadillac. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's a sedan or anything else. They ride so beautiful.
And then another question is, do I have issues backing it up? Yes, I do. I need to install a backup camera. I have one. I just not gotten around to it yet. But yes, it is not an easy feat to back up.
Yeah, honestly, because if you haven't noticed, you have this really huge blind spot right here on both sides.
I have no back side windows.
No. Yeah, these are way too hard to back up because you have this monstrosity of a blind spot on either side.
Yeah, we'll get pictures of it in the inside in a minute.
Yeah, so you got to know how to back a car up. And you got to know how to use side mirrors because it doesn't matter.
So any other last answers? Like, has anybody ever asked, like, how many people have you packed into the thing?
Actually, yes, I have been asked how many people I have fit in this. I currently, while driving, have only fit like 3 people in it other than what's in the front. Yeah. And it was in a parking lot, so I wasn't even driving down the road. But I have moved part of a music venue, like he was saying earlier, is like this can carry a lot. There is a music venue that closed down, and I helped move some of their soundboards, their speakers. Like, I loaded all of that in here, and everybody's like, is it going to be fun?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much a coffin weighs?
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
So
But-
it definitely helps whenever you need to move things. and
Oh, yeah.
others move things.
This is my truck, like we were talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
this is basically like a truck,
Yeah.
but it's covered.
Yeah.
So, along with shows and stuff, I assume that you take it to Cruising Carney.
I've been out to Crusing Carney a couple times with it.
What do you think about Cruising Carney? I mean, what's it like cruising in the hearse for one, cruising around other people, and then what are your dislikes of it?
Like we were saying earlier with the car shows, the looks that you get, it's a mixture, going up and down. I don't do much whenever it's in the height of its cruise because it's a lot of stop and go, and this thing stop and go so much, it's just kind of hard on it. So we'll park and generally sit like we are now and watch a lot of the cars and talk with some of the guys that pull up in the parking lots and share stories, mainly about that whole history of Cruising Carney and everything like that, and just talking about each other's cars. One of the things I don't like about it is the amount of younger kids that are mistreating it. Like you're saying, the privilege. There's a bunch of younger guys out there that see it as it's a racetrack. They try to do burnouts and everything like that and mistreat the privilege that was given to us. That's one of my main dislikes.
But overall, cruising is really fun.
Cruising is
We
fun,
love
yes.
We love Carney cruising kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we all do in a way. And you, sir?
And it's just like when they canceled the cruising in Carney, and then a bunch of us snot-nosed kids back in our 20s would cruise Battlefield, and then they banned it on Battlefield, which we would cruise Battlefield, go up Kansas Expressway, cut across Carney, go back down Glenstone, just make circles. And that's what we would do. And same with everybody that was doing cruising Carney or cruising Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
Then they took that away because too much congestion.
Yep.
Okay, we get it. And now they're letting us do it again back on Carney, which is cool. But it's that one little bad seed that can ruin the whole apple.
Yep.
And that's the only problem that we always hit with is you have the one idiot that thinks he's better than everybody else, thinks he can do whatever he wants, and he's going to ruin it for everyone to where they're going to take it back away.
Right? And like everybody has their own cars, and one car's faster than the other. And that's what we got a drag strip for. You know?
Exactly.
You know, plus you'll
There
do
are
it.
closed tracks.
Yeah.
You won't see me on one.
if
They
you-
are
yeah.
closed tracks.
If you want to go race somebody, go to Ozark.
Yep.
Go out there.
So we're not going to see any burnouts or circles. going on
Absolutely
in the
not.
hearse, are we?
Absolutely not. Unfortunately. Maybe a few years once I do some upgrades that I would like to do to it, maybe. But currently as it sits, no.
Different little heart transplant?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yes, exactly.
Possibly.
All right, so let's see what you got here.
All right, this is the backside, obviously where the coffins go. It's a little crowded right now. I got a couple of things in here from I take to car shows and everything like that. Coffin that was handmade. And I believe if I'm these are the roller coffin rollers. I cannot remember what they're called off the top of my head right now.
Casket rollers?
Yeah, casket rollers. We'll go with that. Then
And that's why it helps
Coffin
you
key.
whenever they had a casket, they roll it up in here in case anybody didn't know.
yes.
And then you probably use it too if you put like a piece of wood here and put things on there and just slide it out, huh?
Yep, like I was saying with a lot of that sound equipment that I was moving out, it definitely
Helps a lot.
helped roll a lot of it out.
A lot of the interior is original, or is it all original?
Some of it is redone. I believe this at one point did have windows on the side in the back. It did not.
Nope.
I know it had some back work, but I do know this back curtain is original from when it was in service.
Okay. And it's got this big old wide back because of the bodies they would put in there and put away. And it makes it easy to have like a, what do you call it? No, people carry it. People carry it to load it.
Yeah, they'll carry
they'll
it out.
carry it to load it up in there.
They carry it, and honestly, they have the carriers, but they also have what they call a church truck that sits underneath the casket to where they can roll it up to the back of the car, and then they lift and roll the car and then roll the casket in. And then the church truck shrinks down to where they can put it to the side.
Now, some of these, don't they pull out or an extension in some of them?
Some of them will.
Some have a manual table in the rear. Like my 66 Miller Meteor has an electric table, and it's what they call a three-way table, to where you can open up the back, table comes out the back, or on mine, the side doors are suicide doors, to where you can bring it out front to the side if you want to.
Okay. So yeah, if you want to shut that.
Yeah. Go check out underneath the hood.
We'll check out underneath the hood. And then we'll come back and talk about some of the body and the wheels.
Yeah.
And your passenger. Well, Jason came up here too. Tell us a little bit about it. So tell me, like, what's it got on the hood, and then like what's new, what's not new, you know, all that kinds of stuff, and then we'll lead into what you'll fix up.
Okay. Well, it is a 368 cubic inch. What I have done new to it so far, not a whole hell of a lot. I've gotten a new air filter to match the exterior of the car, the green and the black. It has a new carburetor on it because the carburetor was giving us fits whenever I first bought it from Jason. It was one of the things me and him were conversing about. And when I actually took it off, I realized that the fuel lines were almost completely fused shut from the heat. So that's why it wasn't getting very much gas.
Yeah.
And then I've gotten some new belts, new spark plugs, basic maintenance.
And with these cars, everybody thinks, oh, it's a 368 big block. No, it's a big block that's bored shallower for fuel efficiency. But this thing has less horsepower than a small block 350.
Has 32 horsepower.
Yeah. Well, what they say.
Yeah.
Enough horsepower just to haul the people who passed away.
Yeah.
And the driver, maybe passenger, but that's it.
Yes.
It's not for racing. It's not for power to go.
No, it is
enough
it's
to get to point A and point B, like you said.
It's point A to point B. Height of the speed is probably 35, because that's what the rear end gear ratio with the 3-speed transmission. That's what they're made for. They're just made to cruise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I see you got a charger up in here just in case the battery goes dead.
That I have for whenever I have this out at the haunt and everything. When I have all my lights and stuff running, that way I can keep them on and then just have that plugged up.
That's probably where all your lights and stuff are plugged in.
Lights, speakers, all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
all right. So,
like he said, labor of love for sure.
Love. Somebody's peeking at us over there. You see that, guys? So we're getting ready to go to the inside here in a minute, but tell us about the wheels and stuff.
The wheels were on there whenever I bought it from Jason. I just like the way that they match. I've always liked white walls, especially with the type of car it is. I would like to go bigger on them, but at the same time, I'm kind of torn.
Mm-hmm.
Are those little skulls you got?
Those are little green skulls. It is full of skulls and bats everywhere.
Yeah, this car was, when I bought it, it was more of a version of a Mad Max hearse. It was primer gray, still had the vinyl top, had other things, had bigger wheels on it, or stock wheels, but a little bit bigger. And when I purchased it, I told my friend that I was like, it's going to go for a change. And he didn't see it. He didn't see it for almost 4 months.
This was even black.
Yeah. Everything that you see chrome was plastic dip black. Everything was plastic dip black. All the chrome, some of the chrome was not on it because that's what he was going for. He was just going for black and gray, slight rust. And I went through and stripped all the plastic dip off, cleaned everything up, took the vinyl top off, redid the top, and sanded it and painted it in my driveway. And then got the different green because, well, the lights inside were green, and just decided to go ahead and go with that green. and then painted, or then taped off and did the scallops.
And then you guys just kept the green going with your shirts and the hair.
Absolutely.
Well,
This was unplanned.
This is unplanned. This is normal. This is normal.
I just wanted to match my car.
But
Good for a good interview too, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then when I bought it, it came with the stock wheels, but it didn't have no tires or anything on it. And I had another set which I took off, so I painted these to match, put the 2-inch wide whites on it, and put them on. And everybody kept asking me, why would you put scallops on a Cadillac? Why not?
Yeah, why not? It looks so good.
Yeah. Before I had it completely finished, took it to a car show, and we were going to have other hearses there. And when I showed up, my friend that came and I bought it from, that's the first time he got to see it after I did everything to it. And he was just amazed. He's just like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah, definitely bringing the chrome back and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, Aaron, you know, hop inside and tell us about this guy.
Yeah.
And then the inside of it too.
Absolutely. As I said, this is Rick R. Mortis. He's but yeah,
I need the green hat.
yes, he does. It's pretty basic up here. There's not really a whole lot of extra things. I've gotten some skulls I've collected. Buddy of mine, 3D prints. He's printed me a few things
You
for.
want to give a shout out to his 3D company?
Yeah, it's Tony. It's Misfiotic Prints on Facebook. Look him up. He can do anything, custom design, all kinds of stuff.
There you go.
Another friend of mine printed this for me for the hearse. It's the Morbid edition.
That's cool.
And obviously you can see I'm kind of going through with a skull and bat theme inside. Bats everywhere.
And then right behind you, did this ever come up?
So I do have the glass. I haven't put it back in yet, the partition glass. Jason actually just recently found it. I got back from him. It's back here underneath everything, but I would like to get a bat laser etched into it before I put it back into.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got some of the Mustang Pony on my back glass too on mine.
Yeah.
My mom actually did it, but I can understand like getting it done before we put it in.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to put like a light under here and everything and light it up.
Yeah.
Make it look
Just
glow.
On the exhaust, they're from an 03 Camaro. And the funny part is the guy that I had doing the exhaust told him where I wanted it. And he was like, I don't know if that's going to look right. I don't know if that's going to look right. And I was like, oh, trust me, it will. As soon as we put it on, he looked at it and goes, holy crap. I'm like, he goes, I can't think of any other exhaust tip on that car now. He goes, where did you get that idea? I'm like, I saw it. I just thought it would look cool.
This is Aaron. Thanks for watching Desire to Drive. They say you should always ride in a hearse in the back, but I will drive.
Let's go. Yeah. We built it. We grind it. That's right, man. We ride it. We cruising. We cruising. We built it. We grind it. That's right. Let's go. Yeah. We cruising. Yeah. We built it. We grind it. We ride it. We grind it.
How come this isn't going?
You got the lids on, Mom.
Oh.